Quite often people ask me how I go about putting together book covers for the books that I do for my clients and for myself. I often use a mixture of being able to see through to a frame type situation, and this is the cover of my daughter's book, Ella. We created this cover for a photo shoot that we did for her in 2009. And this was used as the first page in the book as well as the cover. Now, as you can see, there's a whole heap of little elements in here, and I'm going to show you very easily and quickly how to put something like this together. To be able to do this, you must understand how to use layers in Photoshop, because basically what we're doing here is layering. Once you've used this or created this once, you can reuse this as a template over and over again. And I'll show you what I mean by with an example where I've used the basic template and just turned a few layers on and off and changed a little bit of the colours. Now you can see down the bottom here in our layers palette that we've actually got a few layers in here. And if I turn them off with a little eye on the side here, you'll start to see first of all the 2009 text from down here disappearing. We've then got a couple of little butterflies within this picture as well, and I'll turn that layer off. I've now got the word Ella, which is here, which we'll turn off. I have some white foliage which is coming over and above this layout, which I'm going to now turn off. I also have a little bit of splotches and that type of thing here, which I can also turn off and on. And then if I turn off my black layer, you'll see that this is the picture that I'm using underneath. And the way that we create this layer here is, well, there's a number of ways that we can do it, and the way that I'm using in this particular instance is known as a layer mode of screen. So what I've done, and I'll just turn my picture off behind, I've created a black image with some splotches and some brushes and some black, and by creating bits and pieces in there, I've made a black layer, and on that black and white layer I've changed it to screen. Now anything that is black in this particular screen overlay will be seen through, and anything that is white will remain. So as soon as I turn the picture on, I can see through that screen layer to the picture below. Now that's the basis for my first part of this template. After that, I really need to look at how I'm going to introduce other elements to create some kind of design. The splotches that are on here are again a mixture of brushes that are available online, and if I just go in closely on the edge here, we'll be able to have a look at just what sort of elements are in there. Again, I'm just going to turn the other two off, and I might just create a completely white layer so that we can see what is on the splotches layer there. Now the other thing that you'll notice with the splotches layer is that it's a little bit lighter, so I haven't gone and used very heavy clicks of the mouse when I've put these bits and pieces of elements on. I've been very gentle in the way that I've started to paint around the image, and it's always good to mix things up a little bit and add lots of different elements in there so that you've got lots of little fine details. We'll come down to the bottom ones here, and again you can see these are just splotches. You can delete out or mask off some of this area if you don't want it in there, and that will create some interesting looking elements. So you can see that's what it looks like without the picture being there. I better just make sure I shift that back into the right spot before I start getting into a real mess. So you can see there's my black area, which is my screen layer, and here are my splotches. Now being that this is a girl that we're talking about, a younger girl, we wanted to just add a few extra little bits and pieces in, so I've used some white foliage. Now the white foliage cuts in nicely around this white area and comes in nicely into the image just a little bit. We can then add her name and a few little details and the date. And the best thing about this is that if I decide that I want to change the image that I'm going to use, and let's just place a new image in there. And let me just find one that I like here, perhaps this one. So we've decided we're going to place a new image in, and we'll just hit enter for the moment. All we need to do is make sure that that layer of the photograph, I'll just drag that under my layer, and I can shift that picture around until I get it to about where I want it. Using Control T on the PC, we can also resize that image to fit into our area, so we can change the way that that looks. So you can see we can rearrange this little layout quite easily without too much fuss. You can see this is another image that I've used exactly the same template for, but this time instead of the, let me just put both of those images up so we can quickly see them side by side. I'm just going to slip over here and turn off that new image. We can see very quickly that it is indeed the same template that we've used for both of these, except that I've taken some of the white foliage out for the little boy, because I don't want it to be quite so girly and pretty, because when we're talking about boys we can have some little bits and pieces in here, but we don't want to go too overboard with it. So I have in fact used the same template for both of those book covers. Now each time I do a recolouring or change the layout a little bit, I save that as another template that I can go and use over and over again, and it also gives me the opportunity to show that to my clients, and they can choose whether or not that is something that they would like to have their photographs in as well. I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any questions you can email me at mel@melnewman.com, or you can write to me or post on my blog, which you can also get from my website.